Hi, I'm Bev Adamo, Wild and Wise Women, Wild and Wise Sisterhood. I'm really excited today to be here and talking about some of my favorite stuff, all about soul questions. What are soul questions? One of my most amazing mentors and teachers in this lifetime has been Chopra. And some time ago, he introduced me to this concept of a soul question. And I have loved it because all of my life, I felt like I had purpose, and I felt like there was something for me to do, and I felt like I was somebody, I felt like I was somebody. And then I came into my life and I got all of these different instructions about how to be, how not to be, how to act, how not to act, just instructions about who I am. And there have been times along my life where I've just said, well, wait, stop, time out. I don't think that's who I am. And only to be told, oh, yes, definitely, that's who you are. This is what you need to be doing. This is how you need to do it. This is how humans live their lives, all kinds of things like that. And I just was never that impressed by that. Did I go along with it? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did the things that, I was told that we needed to do. And there were life circumstances that led me on my path the way it was supposed to. So when I think about that, all the different time in my life, and I recently talked to everyone about the why crossroads, waking up one morning and going, wow, I have no idea why I'm here, what my purpose is, what's going on. So this first soul question of who am I? Wow. When I know who I am, there's such clarity in my life. So let's look at how that might look for you to ask yourself that. And first of all, I want to say something. So a lot of people, when I start working with them or I come across them and I start talking about purpose and who you are, being so unique and special and all of that, sometimes people will freak out and say, oh my God, my purpose, I've been on this planet for so many years, and have I been living my purpose? What am I doing? So here's the thing about purpose and people and all that kind of stuff. My experience and my knowing has been that we can't not live on purpose. We are living on purpose. There's varying degrees of consciousness and awareness that happens in our lives. So as we wake up more, and especially to this question of who am I, then there are a lot of things that will become more clear. And clarity is a good thing. Chaos is also a good thing. Chaos and being in the soup is a good thing, and we can talk about that another time. But right here, right now, we're talking about how do you get clarity into who you are. And when you stop for a moment and ask that question, I like asking it just when I'm waking up, when I'm in that in-between space where both my unconscious, subconscious, dream, psyche is there, as well as my conscious psyche, as well as, something else, spirit, source, whatever. Hi, I'm back. I don't know where I've been, and I don't know if anybody who was with me is still with me, so I'm just going to show up here and see what happens, and hopefully Team Austin for W3 can help me figure this out. So in any case, evidently that was a lot of energy talking about our purpose and who we are, and asking that question of who we are. So let me say this again. I love to have a practice where I ask that first thing in the morning, where I'm engaging my unconscious and subconscious dream psyche, part of me, as well as my conscious, just coming into the awareness place, as well as spirit. Because when you're in that really dreamy kind of coming out of everything, spirit is so there. It's so amazing. It's awesome. And so when I'm in that place, and I would invite you to, find a place that's quiet. If it's not when you're just waking up, then, sometime that's on your calendar for being able to sit and allow everything else to go by the wayside as you ask yourself the question, who am I? Who am I? It's always interesting to me that when I first started asking this question, I received some interesting responses and answers. I find myself thinking about different things. And so instead of telling myself, okay, well, that's not who I am, I'm thinking about taking oh my God, I forgot to take the garbage out in this trash day tomorrow. Oh, well, I'm right in the middle of this very spiritual practice of asking who I am. And I got this idea that pops up about the garbage. So what I did is that I thought, you know what? Maybe that's a message anyway. So let me play with it, because I love to play. The thing about really understanding and becoming more in touch and aligned with your intuition is that when you have messages that come through, my experience is they're not always in clear, plain English. Sometimes they can be a little convoluted, because it's just kind of how my mind seems to filter them. So I started looking at that and I thought, who am I? Who am I? And I'm getting this message like, oh my God, I need to take out the garbage. So I allowed myself to go a little further and say, okay, well, is there somewhere in my life that I have something that feels like garbage to me? And it was interesting. The answer to that was interesting because, first of all, yes, it was very apparent that it was possible that I needed to clear some clutter out of my life. Emotionally, mentally, physically, all of that, clearing the clutter. So I get that, great message. I appreciate that. And then I also started to think about what other garbage is there that I might in my life that I wasn't thinking about with respect to who I am. Am I a person who feels like there's any part of me that's garbage and needs to be taken out so that somebody can take care of this? What was the question really about? So the main point that I'm saying here is that when you start asking yourself this question on a daily basis, who am I? You might get some interesting answers, and don't necessarily discard them as like, oh, that's just my monkey mind going off. Well, maybe not. Maybe there's a grain of truth or something that's in there. I have an amazing friend, Maggie, and she and I love to have the conversation about, is a cigar ever a cigar, or does everything have meaning? And we have found that really everything has meaning. There's so much magic and so many miracles and so much power and energy that's contained in every single moment. So instead of expecting an answer of who am I to come back in a way that makes a lot of sense to me, and like, I am this magnificent sunshiny being of light here to spread love and joy and grace. Well, yes, that's all true. And that's great if that's what comes through to you. And if you also, when you ask the question, who am I, and you get the message, oh my God, tomorrow's garbage day, I got to take the garbage out. Don't discard that, because it could be something really quite interesting. I have had some of the greatest epiphanies that come from a thought that I had and I figured had nothing to do with who I am. So when you're asking yourself that question, who am I? Allow the answers to simply be what they are and be curious about them. Don't take them personally. Don't they are personal in that they're meant for you, to serve you, and at the same time they're meant to serve you, not anything else. So no matter what it looks like, go with it. See what happens there. Now I want to say something else about who am I. I started this conversation talking about how we always live on purpose, no matter what. We are on purpose. We can't not live on purpose. It's varying degrees of awareness and consciousness. So when we know that we're here for a purpose, we allow ourselves to ask that soul question, who am I? The reason why it's so critical is because if you're not yourself, you're nobody. Not because that's a bad thing, it's just kind of the way it is. So as you recognize who you are, as you remember who you are, as this incredible being of light here to spread joy, grace, whatever your purpose is, as you realize that and you really allow yourself to live into that, wow. That's the place where you're going to begin to understand that there has never been, ever, nor will there ever be any other you. You are the only you. And that's why this soul question of who am I, and those of us who are on a path and a mission to be awake to our purpose, to be awake and to be in service. That's why it's so important for us to really understand there's nobody else to do what we're here to do. And it's not an obligation. It's not a heavy responsibility that weighs us down and that keeps us struggling. Oh my gosh, no. Our purpose, who we really are, that is where heaven begins. That is where the fun is. That is where our joy is. The more you understand that only you can do what you're here to do, wow, amazing. And guess what? Here's the thing. As you ask yourself, who am I? And you allow yourself to live into that, even when the answer is scary. Like, sometimes we can ask the question of, like, I talked not long ago about, who do you think you are? Well, this who am I can be a question that can be phrased a little bit like that. We can ask ourselves, and many great people have talked about this, we can ask ourselves a question like, who am I to do that? I'm nobody. Or we can ask ourselves a question, who am I to have brought this incredible gift, even if I'm not sure what it is, because I'm still inquiring, I'm still looking, I'm still opening to the universe to help me remember who I am. It's so incredible to be in that place of being willing to find out who you really are. So I'm going to leave you with this invitation. Find a time, find a space on a daily basis where you can ask yourself, who am I? And where you have enough time and space where you can listen to the answer. Because the answer is there. Who you are is so needed in this world right now. Who you are is so special and unique. There are no odds when it comes to who you are. You are the one and only you. So your invitation is to find the time and space every single day to explore that concept of who am I? Learn, allow yourself to be that person. And if the answer to who am I scares the crap out of you, come join us here at Wild and Wise Women, Wild and Wise Sisterhood, because that's what we're about. We're about being willing to ask those soul questions of who am I, so that each and every one of us can be who we are, do what we're here to do in a very awake, conscious, collaborative, beautiful circle of powerful women who, in being who they are, also invite and allow everyone around them to be who they are. I absolutely guarantee you that if you're having any struggles in relationships of any kind outside of yourself, when you start asking yourself the question, who am I? And you start listening to that, and you start really consciously living into the answers of who am I, whew, your relationships, the dynamics, they have to change, because it's all energy. And again, in knowing who you are, you invite and allow others to be who they are. It's a beautiful thing. It's amazing. And one last thing before I go. Does knowing who you are mean that you're never going to encounter any kind of shit or crap in your life? Oh, absolutely not. And the thing to know there is that as you find out, as you remember, as you know who you are, whatever the circumstances are in your life, you're going to be able to even more easily remember and know that everything in our lives are there to serve us. Things don't happen to us. They happen for us. This is Bev Adamo, Wild and Wise Women, Wild and Wise Sisterhood. Be wild, be wise, be who you are, and be willing to ask that question. Who am I? Love to you.